Good morning, everyone, and thank you for being here. Today, we will be looking at how we can implement high-quality Tier 1 math instruction in 4th grade. Today we will focus on 4 learning targets. First, we will identify the characteristics of high-quality mathematics instruction. Next, we will examine instructional practices that research has shown to improve student learning. We will also discuss strategies that encourage mathematical discourse and student engagement. Finally, you will reflect on your current instructional practices and identify one action step that you will implement in your classroom. As we work through today's session, think about how each strategy could strengthen instruction for your students and improve their mathematical thinking. Research consistently shows that students learn mathematics best when they are actively engaged in the learning process. Students need opportunities to explain their thinking, justify their reasoning, solve authentic problems, and collaborate with their peers. Instead of focusing solely on getting the correct answer, our classrooms should emphasize understanding why mathematical procedures work. Students who develop conceptual understanding are more likely to transfer their learning to new situations and become confident problem solvers. Our goal is to create classrooms where students are thinking, discussing, questioning, and making sense of mathematics every day. High-quality math instruction includes several essential components that work together to support student learning. Conceptual understanding allows students to understand mathematical ideas and relationships. Procedural fluency ensures that students can accurately and efficiently perform mathematical procedures. Mathematical reasoning encourages students to explain and defend their thinking, while problem solving gives students opportunities to apply mathematics in meaningful situations. Student discourse is another critical component. When students explain their thinking and listen to the reasoning of others, they deepen their own understanding. Productive struggle allows students to persevere through challenging tasks rather than relying on the teacher to provide answers immediately. Finally, formative assessment provides ongoing information that helps teachers adjust instruction to meet student needs. Together, these components create a classroom environment where students become active learners rather than passive recipients of information. An effective mathematics lesson begins by activating students' prior knowledge and clearly communicating the learning target. Students should understand what they are learning and why it is important. During instruction, students should engage in meaningful mathematical tasks that require them to think critically and explain their reasoning. The teacher serves as a facilitator by asking purposeful questions, encouraging discussion, and guiding students without taking over the thinking. The lesson concludes with opportunities for reflection and formative assessment. Exit tickets, student reflections, or brief discussions help determine what students have learned and what additional support may be needed. The gradual release of responsibility provides a framework for helping students become independent learners. During the I do phase, the teacher models thinking aloud and demonstrates strategies. During we do, the teacher and students solve problems together while discussing the reasoning behind each step. In the collaborative phase, students work with partners or small groups to apply new learning while supporting one another. Finally, students independently demonstrate their understanding through practice or application activities. This progression allows students to gain confidence while gradually assuming responsibility for their own learning. One of the most effective ways to improve mathematics achievement is through meaningful classroom discussions. Students should regularly explain how they solved problems, compare different solution strategies, ask clarifying questions, and respectfully challenge one another's thinking. Teachers can support mathematical discourse by providing sentence stems such as, I solved it by, I agree because, I disagree because. Can you explain your thinking? These conversations help students organize their thinking while strengthening communication and reasoning skills. Rich mathematical tasks challenge students to think deeply rather than simply follow a procedure. These tasks often have multiple solution methods, encourage collaboration, and require students to justify their reasoning. For example, instead of assigning several routine area problems, students might solve a real-world problem involving designing a playground or calculating the area of multiple garden plots using different strategies. Rich tasks promote perseverance, creativity, and higher-order thinking while making mathematics more meaningful. Productive struggle occurs when students encounter challenging tasks and work through them without the teacher immediately providing the solution. As educators, it is natural to want to help students quickly, but learning often occurs when students wrestle with ideas, make mistakes, revise their thinking, and eventually arrive at a solution. Our role is to ask guiding questions, encourage perseverance, and create a classroom culture where mistakes are viewed as valuable learning opportunities. When students experience productive struggle, they build confidence, resilience, and stronger problem-solving skills. Purposeful questioning is one of the most powerful instructional tools available to teachers. Rather than asking questions that only require a correct answer, we should ask questions that reveal student thinking. Examples include, how did you solve the problem? Can you explain your reasoning? Is there another strategy that would work? What patterns do you notice? How do you know your answer is reasonable? These questions encourage students to analyze, justify, and communicate their mathematical thinking. Every classroom contains students with varying levels of readiness, learning styles, and instructional needs. Differentiation allows teachers to meet students where they are by using flexible grouping, math centers, intervention groups, enrichment opportunities, and targeted instruction. Formative assessment data should guide instructional decisions so that students receive appropriate support or enrichment based on their current understanding. Differentiation is not about creating completely different lessons but about providing multiple pathways for students to reach the same learning goals. Formative assessment provides ongoing information about student learning throughout the instructional process. Examples include exit tickets, observations, whiteboard responses, math journals, student interviews, and classroom discussions. These assessments help teachers identify misconceptions, monitor progress, and adjust instruction before misunderstandings become barriers to learning. The purpose of formative assessment is not simply to assign grades but to improve teaching and learning in real time. As instructional leaders and teachers, there are several indicators we should expect to see during high-quality mathematics instruction. Students should be actively engaged in solving meaningful problems, discussing their thinking, and using multiple representations. Teachers should facilitate learning through purposeful questioning rather than direct explanation alone. Classrooms should reflect high expectations, productive struggle, collaborative learning, and ongoing formative assessment. When these instructional practices become routine, students are more likely to develop mathematical understanding and confidence. Take a few moments to reflect on your own classroom practices. Consider which instructional strategy you currently implement successfully. Next, identify one practice that you would like to strengthen. Finally, think about what support or resources would help you implement that practice effectively. Sharing these reflections with colleagues provides opportunities for collaboration and continuous professional growth. High-quality mathematics instruction is not about covering more standards or completing more worksheets. It is about creating learning experiences that challenge students to think, reason, communicate, and apply mathematics with confidence. Every intentional instructional decision we make, from the questions we ask to the tasks we select, has the potential to improve student outcomes. As you leave today's session, I encourage you to choose one instructional strategy to implement during the next few weeks. Small, intentional changes made consistently over time can have a significant impact on student learning. Thank you for your participation and your commitment to providing high-quality mathematics instruction for every student.